What's up? Welcome, everyone. Today, we have an exciting newsletter for you. Welcome to the Franchise Empire newsletter, where we break down different franchise opportunities for you. And today, we are going to talk about, I'm going to make this bigger so you guys can see it better. We're going to talk about a recession-resistant resale for $200,000. We're going to talk about a family business with the future, Kevin and Ben's franchise story, which I think you guys will find interesting. Have you ever driven by a KFC and wondered how much does it cost to open a KFC? How much money do KFC locations make? If you've ever wondered that, we're going to tell you the answers to it today. And we'll talk about a recent video we made around, can you keep your job and still own a franchise? What an interesting debate. Before we get started, I have just a quick message for you guys. All right, well, if you're new here, my name is Tarek Johnson. I'm the CEO and founder of Franchise Empire, and I'm here with our head of brokerage, Mr. Mark Magerman. Thanks for joining, Mark.
Hi, Tarek. Nice to be here. Thanks.
All right, so we got some good stuff today, Mark. So I know you're the one that selected this resale. And actually, let me see. This is that a preview, blog preview? I think this is live now. Let me see if so people can follow along at home if they would like. It is. So I'm going to drop this in the chat, in the comments for you guys if you want to take a look and see what we see. And if you want to make sure you get these on Sunday mornings, then go to the link that's scrolling at the bottom of the page, franchiseempire.com/newsletter, because we send out this entire newsletter in an email every Sunday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern. But yeah, Mark, tell us about this resale, if this thing will stop acting funky.
Before I do, I will say that obviously this newsletter works because I had an email this morning and the gentleman must have seen this newsletter yesterday in his inbox, and he wants me to introduce him to the franchise the seller of this resale, this one specifically.
So, oh, really?
Yeah. He reached out and said, Mark, I'm interested. And I said, well, I'd like to have a little meeting with you before we go further. This is a candidate that's been looking for resales and hasn't found anything. And he and I are he's on my calendar for tomorrow. And if all goes well, we'll do a joint introduction, and who knows, it might be gone by tomorrow, but we'll assume that it won't be. But just the fact that means there's a lot of people out there looking at these franchise opportunities, and there's a lot of people out there looking at Franchise Empire. So it works. Anyway.
Very cool. I love the story.
I digress, but this is in the Dallas, Texas area, which is nice because in many cases, we're not even given, they might tell us northeast or southwest of a state, but they don't give us the exact city and state. So this is Dallas, Texas. It's a service business, but it also has dual revenue streams, both residential and commercial. Why that's important is there are a lot of franchise brands out there, believe it or not, that don't even allow franchise owners to work with commercial sides of the business for a variety of reasons, which we don't have to get into. But this one does, and that's another revenue stream. The asking price is $200,000. Last year's sales, $493,000. They've been in business for 3 years. So again, just still getting out of the infancy stages. And it's a 3 available business. So again, one of the attractions of that is you're inheriting a business that's got revenue, that's got people in place that have customers. 3 territories in the area of Dallas is probably very lucrative with a lot of potential to grow. So that's kind of some of the bullet points of this particular resale opportunity.
Nice. Yeah. It is interesting that some franchisors don't allow residential and commercial. I think more and more I'm seeing some that do, and wow, what an opportunity for those. The AirServe franchisee that did our HVAC unit, he was telling me that he's getting ready to hire like a biz development person that will specifically, all they will do is go out and target B2B and getting B2B service contracts.
Yeah, it's a much different game, right? And I think that's the reason why the franchisors are a little bit reticent, because it takes a certain mentality. I'll use an example: ABC Painting Company. That's a made up name, but if you're investing in an ABC Painting Company and you did residential painting, well, I'll tell you what: you're painting someone's house. If you miss one stroke of the paintbrush, the mom of the house is going to tell you about that, and you're going to get back there and fix it maybe 8 times because it's their house. Commercial painting, you're probably painting 50,000 square feet all white, right? So it's a different job, right? It probably costs less. The commercial buildings are probably paying less per square foot of work. But a larger job, and the margin's probably smaller to win that business. So it's a little bit more complicated, and you might also have to wait a lot longer to get paid if you're a franchise owner and you're calling on corporate or commercial businesses because of the way it works. So it's not apples to apples. They're two distinctly different businesses. But when the brands give you that opportunity, I think what you just described is really smart business. The franchisee brings in one person to focus on residential and one on business to business, and that's how you're going to ramp up your business. And then this resale looks prime for that opportunity.
Yeah, nice. I like it. Guys, so that's our take and the breakdown of this specific resale. We have a list of over 100 resales and growing by the day with various different brands spanning the US and Canada. By the way, we've helped individuals buy in Canada. I know Mark has specifically. And so if you are interested in this specific resale, my advice would be hurry up, because Mark already had someone reach out the other day when we sent the email yesterday, asking to be introduced to the seller. But outside of it, no matter where you're located in the country or in Canada, if you would like to know what resales are available in your area, if any, then go to franchiseempire.com/resales. You can set up a free meeting with our team and we'll be able to check. And no promises. There may not be any resales available,
right?
But you never know if you don't ask. So,
and one other point I would make, there were, and if you've listened to these podcasts each week, we've said this before, but there are certain pockets of the country geographically that are just harder to find new territories because of the popularity of the area. The Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas area is one of, if not the most congested, populated area for franchising in the country. Southern Florida would also be in that list. And as a broker, it's sometimes we can't find brands to present to people if they live in those areas, because we're not just going to throw any brand at them. It has to meet our criteria. It has to be in our portfolio. We have to have a comfort level with the brand. And if there's no availability, we can't just make that happen. Why am I saying all this? Well, sometimes if you're in that area, resales are the only way to get into franchise opportunities. Even though it's a slippery slope and it's tougher to come by, it may be the only way in some cases. So if you're in this area and you're looking at a franchise, the resale might even kind of move up your list a little bit because it may be the only way you could participate.
That's really, really, really good point. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, moving on from this resale, I'm on the wrong page here. Here we go. So we're going to eliminate that. We'll put this back here. New owner through Franchise Empire. Who's Franchise Empire? Oh, that's us. No, I'm just kidding. Do you want to tell us about? I'm sorry, I can't see.
Yeah, no, this was Kevin. I remember Kevin. We worked long and hard. Kevin was a really interesting guy. He'd been in sales. He was getting ready to retire. Really smart guy. Had a son, and a lot of reasons why people decide franchising might be for them is for legacy purposes. And his son was hardworking, and his dad did real well, and he wanted to find something. And the reason we loved working with Kevin is he said all the right things. He goes, I want to come in. I want to learn the business. I want to work at it. I want to figure it out. I want to bring my son in so he could ultimately take over and run with it. So that was the challenge that he gave us, what he was looking for. They weren't just looking for short-term income, as it says here, a path to long-term freedom where Kevin could guide the business early on and Ben could take over full-time. As is not, as is more often than not the case, home services becomes very attractive to people who are looking for those type of opportunities. So we, again, evaluated several options. They found the one that made the most sense. And it was a longer process because, again, Kevin had to, free up time and they had to figure out if this was right for him. And I think it was just about I don't know, maybe 4 weeks ago, Tarek. I'm not sure, 4 to 6 weeks to let us know that they were going to go forward on it. And I don't think we want to share the business. Can I share the category, or is that?
Yeah, of course.
So they found a pool service company, maintenance in a service, and it's not an install. It's not a construction company, but mostly what they liked about it was the recession resistance, A, but B, the membership model where it's recurring revenue coming in. So they felt that in their hometown of Oklahoma City, if they can go get a customer and clean their pool and they do a really good job, they'll be asked back again and again and again. And then those people will tell other people. So they really like that recurring model. It's a father-son team. I think they're going to do really, really well.
Nice. That's awesome. I love hearing about these father and son teams when they get into franchising like that, which is pretty cool. And how lucky or blessed for a son to be able to have a dad that will help kind of back, and I just think that's awesome.
When I met both of these guys, I remember one of the first things I said is, I wish I had a dad like Kevin. My dad didn't do anything like this for me. I don't remember. So, I think my dad said, "You're 18, get the hell out of the house, let alone here's a business we can do together." But it's great. It's a great way of doing it. And talk about the dad feeling great that he's setting his son up for success. The son feels great because he's got a dad who's committed to his success as well. Just a perfect family story. They're great. It's great when it happens this way.
Yeah, that's awesome. Quick side tangent is and congrats, Kevin and Ben. Super excited for you guys. This is the reason why we're in business, for these moments to help celebrate you guys becoming owners and entrepreneurs.
Absolutely.
Side note, talking about sons. So we were traveling for Thanksgiving, and we were in an Airbnb visiting Bridget's family, and there was like a mini Monopoly game in the Airbnb, and our babysitter was the first night, the night before, Bridget and I went out to dinner with her dad and brother and so on and so forth, and the babysitter was watching the kids, and I guess they pulled out Monopoly. And Caleb is 6, will be 7 in March, and I guess they were just kind of playing, didn't really know the rules. So the next day, that next morning, the day after Thanksgiving, Friday, Caleb goes, "Hey, can we play Monopoly?" So me, Bridget, Caleb sit down and play Monopoly, and now he's hooked and he's obsessed. And I was just thinking, wow, Monopoly really is an incredible game. If you want to kind of teach your kids about money and kind of entrepreneurial skills and like the kind of investing mindset, just the breakthrough in his thinking and his quick understanding of the game. I was shocked that he can fully play and understand. And I would propose a deal and he'd be like, "No, that's not a good deal," and be able to negotiate. And I'm thinking, holy crap, number one, this kid's way smarter than I was at 6 years old, I think. I don't think I was that smart. And 2, wow, this is amazing. So then when we got home, I went out to Target, bought the normal size board, and we played. And then I beat him and Bridget that time because he thought it was the funniest thing. We were playing on Friday to go, "Dad, I think you're going to be the first one to lose." And they just, the whole time, these guys were just trolling me, him and Bridget, and I was the first one to lose.
Well, I guess I would say that if you didn't win, but beating your 6-year-old shouldn't be overly fulfilling, right? to beat your 6-year-old. But there was a game, I'm aging myself here, but it was a great point you brought up. I don't know if you remember the game, because again, it was a while ago, but there was a game called Masterpiece. Do you ever remember that game, Masterpiece?
No.
So Masterpiece was a game where there were cards, and one of the cards would have a picture of a famous painting, a Picasso or a Da Vinci or a Rembrandt, but famous painting. And the other cards would have dollar values. And randomly you would attach a dollar value to a painting, right? And then you would roll the dice and you would land on certain paintings and you would bid on it, because if I bid $1 million on the painting and the value was $2 million on the card, I would have made out well. And I remember I learned a ton about the value and winning or losing in business when I was a little boy playing that game. Because if you made one bad deal, if you bid $1 million for a painting because you thought it was going to be worth $1 million, but it was a forgery, you lost your $1 million. So it was a great, great lesson. So when you were talking about your son with Monopoly, there's actually a lot of board games out there that are tremendous learning tools for younger kids. And again, it was fun as well. So you're learning while it's having fun. That's a great story on Monopoly. I just thought about the same one when you were talking about it.
That's awesome. Bridget would probably love, given that she's in the
Masterpiece. Look around. Yeah, she's in Art. See, I don't even know if they make the game anymore, but check it out. Fun game.
Oh, I'm sure they do. And actually, yeah, she would probably love if I bought that. Okay, Masterpiece. I'm definitely
no charge on the Christmas gift idea for your wife, Tar. No charge on that one.
I appreciate the tip. All right, guys. Well, franchise of the week. Good old KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken. So every week we break down some of the most popular, well-known franchises in at least the U.S. And we're going to dive into how much money their locations make on average, top performers. We'll dive into startup cost, all that good stuff. But first, a quick background if you guys aren't familiar. And I think this one, KFC in particular, given you got Colonel Sanders, has one of the more interesting backgrounds, or at least at all of his failures that he had to push through. I don't even know if we have this note in here. But let's see. It started back in 1930. At age 40, Harlan Sanders began selling fried chicken out of a Shell oil service station. That's how Kentucky Fried Chicken got started, guys. Humble beginnings. And what began as a small roadside hustle grew into a little court and cafe with a combined motel and restaurant that served travelers homemade comfort food. By 1940, Sanders perfected his now famous blend of 11 herbs and spices, paired it with a pressure cooking method that cut chicken cooking time from 30 minutes to a fraction, the breakthrough that made scaling possible. It wasn't until we had recently made the video on this, Mark, that I learned that was how I didn't realize they cooked their fried chicken in pressure cooking. Pressure cooking recently got popular again, where people started buying these pressure cookers. I remember just a year or two ago, Bridget being like, I bought this pressure cooker and I can cook full meals in like 8 minutes, Did you realize that KFC is pressure cooked?
Well, I'll be honest. I never gave one bit of thought to how the chicken was made at KFC, but no, I wouldn't have guessed it was pressure cooked. Definitely not.
I just thought it was pride.
Yeah, it's really nothing. It's really nothing that's been keeping me up at night on that. But no, I'm surprised by that. I would have thought I would have thought it would be the old standard fryers.
Me too. So in 1952, Sanders partnered with Pete Harmon in Salt Lake City to open their first official KFC franchise. So that was 22 years later. So he was 62 years old. So this is not in the description here. But guys, he went around for years trying to sell his chicken recipe to businesses, and the what is it? Not the novel, the not fairy tale, as legend says, he got rejected like 1,000 times by 1,000 different businesses until he got his first yes, and then his first franchisee. Oh, there we go. The legend says Sanders was rejected 1,009 times while pitching his recipe, a story that may be dramatized but underscores his grit. And in 1964, Sanders sold KFC for about $2 million, which is worth about $20 million today. but stayed on as the brand ambassador for life. And hopefully they continue to pay him royalties for using his name, image, and likeness.
Something tells me the company would go for a little bit more than $20 million if sold today.
Oh, yeah. Billions.
He built an amazing company. Well, he was the father of an amazing brand. So.
Right. It is pretty interesting, though, Mark, how founders may be able to get it to a certain point, create the vision, get it to a certain point, but it's really the builders that can then scale it and get it to something quite significant. Think about Disney World. I mean, Disney had the vision, but then he had to have a great team of individuals to help build it and really turn it into what it is today. Obviously, it's completely transformed, and they have a massive unit now. But do you think find that interesting?
I do. And even going back to my Five Guys days, when Five Guys was growing really rapidly with units being opened, the franchisees collaborated. Obviously, franchisees are always looking for the negative, right? What can I do negative? And the rumor was that they were utilizing the franchisees as a springboard to unit growth, so the family could sell out to a corporate entity and walk away with billions and billions of dollars. So there were lots of opportunities where the franchisees would have a chance to speak to the founders and they would ask them those questions. And the folks who owned the Five Guys, the Morel brothers, vehemently denied that was ever going to happen. They were right. They never did make that sale. But again, that's why a lot of more scrupulous brands would utilize franchise owners to get that count up, to get it to the point where you can sell it out. So in many cases, that's the strategy for growing it, so the founders can exit as multi-billionaires.
Yeah, interesting. Well, I don't necessarily see anything wrong with that. I mean, I think building a quality business and saying that, okay, you want to then sell it. I don't think, like, if the founders of Five Guys had sold it, like, I wouldn't be surprised. Or
no, but it creates some anxiety in the franchisee network, because what's the strategy? Why are they buying it? Are they going to start making it? Are they going to try to become more profitable by using crappy oil instead of? It begs a lot of questions, and there's a lot of uncertainty. I would think if I was part of that, you would do an amazing job getting down into the level of the franchisees, selling this as a benefit to that network, getting them aboard. But no, there's nothing wrong with it. And if you're a founder, isn't that your goal? Either you're going to pass it on to your legacy. You're not dying owning billions and billions of dollars and having to just go away. So you got to do something with it.
Yeah. Interesting. I didn't realize that Five Guys was still privately owned.
Well, again, I've been out for a while, and I think I would have heard, but it's owned by the Morel family. Five, the dad and the four boys, they've owned it, and they've resisted a lot of opportunities to sell. But they were also really smart. They brought in franchise guys. They brought in, the CEO and the COO and the CFO are not Morel brothers. They are professional franchise guys who help grow the business. And the Morel boys sit on the board, living their best life. If it sounds like I'm a bit envious, I'm absolutely am.
Nice. All right. So by 1970, KFC had exploded to 3,000 restaurants across 48 countries. So he had his first franchisee in 1952. 12 years later, sold KFC, the brand. And then just 6 years after that, exploded to 3,000 restaurants. I'm guessing that's sold, not open. I don't know, but that seems wild. 18 years to grow to 3,000 units open. But they became one of America's earliest globally franchised fast food chains. Today, the brand has 24,000 locations worldwide. And KFC is the number one fast food chain in China, with over 9,000 locations, more than triple the US count.
That's amazing.
That's wild. And what started as one man cooking chicken in a gas station has become one of the most recognizable brands on earth. I think I've probably ever had KFC maybe twice in my life. And speaking of fried food, and we'll dive into the numbers, guys, with the startup costs and the earnings. Mark, have you ever had fried turkey?
I've actually fried my own turkey. Yes,
You have done it.
I have.
Did it come out good?
Unbelievable.
Yes, for the first time this Thanksgiving.
Best turkey I've ever had. Not that I'm patting myself on the back, because anybody could have fried it, but it was amazing. Way better than any turkey I've ever had in my life. And it's done in a third of the time, and it's fun because you're outside. Yeah, this is one you had me at hello on this, and I always keep begging my wife to do it again, and we just haven't got that far. But yeah, I have. Did you do it yourself? Did you do the frying?
My brother-in-law, we're at his house, and he did it, and same thing. He said the first time he had it, the best thing ever. I tasted the turkey, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is same reaction. Best turkey I've ever had.
Really good. You just can't make you got to be careful because it's dangerous too. You got to have you got to know what you're doing, right?
We had a fire extinguisher right next to it.
Don't fill the oil up past the halfway point spot. Don't put the turkey in frozen. I mean, basic 101 guidelines if you don't want to burn your house down.
Yeah. All right, let's talk some numbers about KFC. We already talked about units they have open, initial investment. So if you want to open a KFC, I'm not sure there's a tremendous amount of locations available to open one up from scratch. But if you did want to, your initial investment would range from $1.8 million to $3.7 million. The franchise fee is $45,000. Royalties 4%. Advertising fee is 4.5%. And they have 99% of their locations are franchise, 1% are corporate. It's always interesting to me how the different strategies can work for different brands. You have brands that have 0 corporate units. I think Dunkin' Donuts is maybe one of them. And then you have ones like McDonald's and other brands that have hundreds of corporate units. So it's pretty interesting that both models can work. Terms of sales, let's talk about average sales. So the numbers that you guys have been waiting for and want to see. So all single brand KFC outlets, single brand meaning because some of they do have locations that are co-branded. What do they? Is it with Taco Bell's? Is that what they do?
Taco Bell.
Because they're both owned by Yum Brands, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay, so all single-branded KFC outlets opened during the entirety of 2024 in the U.S. There were 2,850 of those. The average net sales for all of them, 1.346 million. Company-owned, 1.353 million, and franchisee-owned, 1.346 million. I mean, pretty much about the same, which is interesting. So basically, your average KFC does about 1.3 million in sales. Is that more or less than you thought, Mark?
It's pretty much what I thought. What I think is interesting there is no real revenue numbers different between company owned and franchise owned, meaning the franchises are every bit as good operating these as the company owned locations are. That jumps out. And it also tells me that it may be hard to get those numbers up higher than that. That could be that's probably going on 20 years. I'd love to see average sales over the last decade or so. It could just be that the brand has reached its nadir at 1.346 million, which wouldn't be bad, by the way. But I'm guessing that there's something along the lines that would tell me that there's not going to be too many 1.8, 2.2, $2.9 million locations out there.
Yeah. And what was I going to get at here?
And the other comment I was going to make was when you looked at the 1.3 to $2.8 million startup, unfortunately, there's no discounts to do multiple units, right? Because you're building out each of them separately. So again, if you're going to do 2, if you're going to get involved in a KFC or any of the food brands we discuss, you're probably doing it on a multi-unit level. So you got to take that investment level and multiply it by how many locations, because the contractors are not discounting it because you built 2 or 3 or more of them in the past.
Yeah, it's a good point. And on that topic, the sales to investment ratio is terrible. I mean, it's less than 1. It's not even, it's not even 1. It's on the low end of the range, it's 0.8, and on the high end of the range, it's a lot less. So, and then when you look at some of these numbers in terms of their they don't show the range. I'm trying to scroll back to this thing. I don't know why the website does that. We're gonna have to get that. I don't like the way that's set up like that. That's annoying. Average cost of product, 32% of net sales. Average cost of labor, 35%. So that's 60. Their COGS are 67. The 67%, 67.8%. Let's call it 68%.
Well, the COGS plus labor, 67, 68%, which would be their, which would leave a gross margin of 32%, which is not good.
No,
not good.
No, because there's a lot more.
One of the reasons, one of the reasons we don't have a lot of people diving into food. There you see it, right? 35%, 35.8% labor. We've been out of our food business for 6, 7 years now. We got out in part because labor was going up that we couldn't control, and we were at 29, and now it's at 35, and there's the reason why they're not as attractive as they used to be. You used to be able to pay people minimum wage, and that was what you paid them, and that would mean your labor cost was in the 18 to 20% number. If you double that, well, that's money coming out of your pocket. So I'm not trying to badmouth or be negative on the brand here. It's just food is tough, which is why you've got to have 8, 10, 12, 15, 20, 50 of these all rolled up under one number to make it worthwhile.
Yeah. Great points, and speaking from experience there. Yeah, food's tough business, guys. You really need to own a lot of them. What this will translate into in a net margin number is probably not a lot, but they don't disclose it. So
my guess is less than 5.
Yeah. Whoo, that's a lot of money and capital to risk for less than 5% net.
I do not disagree with you on that.
Yeah. Guys, all right. So our most recent, by the way, if you think that not think, but if I guess if you're thinking $2 million to start a KFC is not the range that I want to be in. And I'm interested in lower cost franchises, and I want to know if they're available in my market. Then you can go to franchiseempire.com/check territory. We can check and see what non-food franchises that have a fraction of the startup cost, if they're available in your market based on your skill set, financial budget, goals, etc. And then let's talk about our most recent piece of content. So we got Mark, we got Laura, looking great. And this episode,
Laura's certainly looking great. I wouldn't say the same about myself, but Laura always looks good.
Our team put the AI effect on it. You see it? It's got it like all glossed up. I think it looks fantastic.
I do.
Can you keep your job and still own a franchise? So if you're wondering about this, hey, I might want to buy a franchise, but can I keep my job? Can I just work 10 hours a week? What do I have to do? What sort of time commitment is involved? If you want a honest, detailed kind of answer on that, around the pros and cons, then go watch this video. You can watch it on our Franchise Empire YouTube channel, or it's on any of the podcast platforms, the audio version of it. So go check that out. And that's about it. Mark, anything else to add before we rock and roll?
No, I really enjoyed that content we got to do with Laura on whether or not you can have a business and keep your full-time job. It's one of my most passionate topics when I talk to my candidates. So give it a listen. And I'm not sure everybody's going to love all the answers we came up with, but it's certainly, I think when I remember doing that, it was very poignant, and the information is very, very practical and useful. So take a listen. Not just
Yeah.
saying it because I was on it. It was great information, and not often enough is there a conversation with potential franchise owners about the pros and cons of not of leaving your job when you go. And a lot of people want to avoid that topic, but we don't.
Yeah, and just to, before we wrap on that, there's a lot of folks out there in the franchise space that are quite vocal and aggressive in telling people, yeah, keep your job, work 10, 15 hours a week. We don't subscribe to that really thought process. The only asterisk or caveat is like you're an experienced business owner, and you have an equity partner. You watch the video because we talk about it. Mark breaks it down, and Laura talks about it. But this whole idea of, let me just work. I can work 5 to 10 hours a week and have someone else manage something that I just put my life savings into. See how that works out.
Yeah, that and the thought of, the expectations people have until they're educated is I can keep my full-time job, devote part-time effort to my new business, but expect full-time results. That's where the rubber doesn't hit the road. So yeah, are there opportunities where you can keep your full-time job and get into a passive business? Sure. But your results are going to be part-time and passive as well, because that's there's not too many opportunities in business where you don't get out of it what you put in. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah, it's a great way to end. Mic drop. All right, guys. You guys have a great rest of your day. Mark, I'll see you again. Same place, same time next week.
Thanks very much. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.